Every time we talk about Hiroshima, we talk about Japan. The bomb, the destruction. August 6th, 1945. But there's a story nobody tells you. A story of 70,000 people who were standing right there when that bomb dropped. And they weren't even in Japan by choice. They were Korean. During World War II, Japan had colonized Korea. Korean people were forced to leave their homes and work in Japanese factories, mines, and military bases. They were brought to Hiroshima as laborers. Some came chasing survival. Most had no real choice. They were building Japan's war machine while their own country was occupied. And on that morning, August 6th, 1945, when the bomb dropped at 8:15 a.m., these Koreans died alongside Japanese civilians. No warning, no escape. Out of the estimated 140,000 people who died in Hiroshima by the end of 1945, roughly 40,000 to 50,000 were Korean. That is almost 1 in 3 victims. Let that sink in. 1 in 3 people who died in that atomic blast were Korean forced laborers and their families. But here is where it gets even darker. After Japan surrendered, survivors, called Hibakusha, started receiving government support, medical care, financial compensation, recognition. The Japanese Hibakusha got help. The Korean Hibakusha? They were sent back to Korea. A Korea now divided. A Korea devastated by its own chaos. And Japan said, "You are not our citizens anymore. Our laws don't cover you." These people were carrying radiation in their bodies. Cancer, organ failure, children born with defects. And they had nothing. No support, no recognition, no apology. For decades, Korean Hibakusha fought for basic acknowledgement. Some returned to Japan, risking everything, just to access medical treatment they were legally denied at home. It took until 2003, 58 years after the bomb, for Japan's Supreme Court to rule that Korean survivors living outside Japan were eligible for health benefits. 58 years of suffering in silence. There is a memorial in Hiroshima's Peace Memorial Park. But did you know, for 40 years, the Korean memorial was kept outside the park boundaries? Because some groups did not want a Korean monument inside a Japanese memorial space. It was only moved inside the park in 1999. These people died in the same blast, on the same day, and their memorial could not stand on the same ground for 4 decades. Today, the names of most Korean victims are unknown. Many records were never kept because they were laborers, not registered civilians. Some Korean families found out decades later, through a letter, a survivor's account, pure accident, that their relative had died in a nuclear explosion. Imagine losing your father and not knowing for 30 years how he died. This is not about blame. Japanese victims suffered immensely. Hiroshima was a tragedy for all of humanity. But history has a habit of remembering some people and quietly erasing others. The Korean victims were erased twice. First by the bomb, then by the history books. Their story deserves to be told. Their names deserve to be remembered. If this reached you, share it. Because even 80 years later, the first step toward justice is simply knowing.